And we'll call the meeting to order. Call the meeting to order. Leominster. Oh.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Oh. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Leominster Planning Board for May 15th, 2017 at 6:30. First is continued public hearing for West Village Lane for preliminary subdivision approval. Do I have a representative?
We
I
do
don't
not,
think so,
but I
yeah.
spoke with Jamie Rowe from Whitman and Bingham. He is asking for a continuance of this public hearing. He has a meeting scheduled with the DPW later this week to go over some of the details, and so he'd be more
Okay.
comfortable postponing that to the 5th.
Well, before, just in case there's anybody here that wants to be heard on this, I'll ask one more time, is anyone wish to be heard on West Village? Okay. Motion would be in order to continue.
Second.
Motion made and second to continue to June what?
June 5th is the next meeting.
June 5th?
We
Okay.
currently have items scheduled for 6:30, 6:35, 6:40, and 6:50.
Okay. 7 o'clock then.
7 o'clock. And that is,
Motion is made for June 5th at 7 o'clock to be continued. Any further? Yes, sir.
So then those of us that are here in attendance to review this tonight, this is sort of a waste of time. So the question is, so now if we come back on June 5th and Whitman decides, well, we still need another couple of weeks, and then they go another month and you say, well, okay, we go to July, how does it, I just sort of learning the process.
Okay, let me give you a little background. That's why I asked for
Sure.
discussion for the audience. We had a site walk, and in that site walk, we found there were a number of issues with drainage and wetlands, and the DPW had some issues with the sewerage and how it was to be done. So, in order to address those, Mr. Rowe, Whitman and Bingham had to set up a meeting with the DPW. That is scheduled for this week,
I think it's Thursday, yeah.
Thursday, I think.
Yes.
And they'll be sitting down with the DPW, I'll be sitting down with them, and they'll go over the different issues. Now, if you have something specific that you'd like to have us discuss, bring it up now, and then I will bring that forward to their meeting on Thursday. And that way, you know, you've had your chance, and then we move to June 5th. But just because of, we saw that there were some issues, we planned the site walk, we did the site walk. They tried to, you know, for scheduling issues, the DPW, they couldn't meet with them months sooner, because it was only 2 weeks. And so now they've scheduled that meeting, and we'll have that on Thursday. Okay? Do you have something specific?
No, just following along, you know, just because I'm one of the residents in the area and
Right.
just want to follow along. Is it possible that it could be that after they meet with the DPW and they say that this sewer project could cost $1 million, that it could be cost prohibitive for them to build these homes, and they just say, hey, we're going to take it and forget it?
We could.
Yeah,
See, remember, this is at the preliminary stage.
right.
So there's nothing, in other words, a preliminary stage gives us the bare minimum lot sizes, gives us the bare just typical topography, and I'm gonna say typical areas, okay? And without being specific on anything. In generalities, and that's what we're talking about, is this project, does it have potential? So I'm gonna say take it from a 50-50 maybe to a 75%, okay, possibility. Then they go through all their drawings, get the final okay from the DPW, and we'll have a another hearing sometime in the future, and then that's when we get into the definitive. And then when you get into definitive, they get into, you know, the sizes of the pipe, the actual drainage, the size of the roads, the actual location of the homes, and where they actually nail down what it's gonna look like. And at that point, we would get into, well, with the regular subdivision regulations, but do we wanna have a buffer zone? Do we wanna take and put in some plantings along the adjacent homes? This is special things for drainage. A number of issues would come up, but that comes up more in the definitive plan. Okay, any questions to that?
Nope.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wondered, will 2 weeks be enough time for them to do the corrections and then come back? Or would it be safer to
Yeah,
have
because
it
remember, this is.
a month
this is-
from now instead, so then we won't all
Yeah,
come
this is a
here?
preliminary, and in talking to Mr. Rowe, I talked to him today myself, and they felt that to get the generalities done by the DPW in that meeting on Thursday, that they'd be able to come back and be able to make some decisions. Now, the DPW comes back and say, hey, you're gonna put in, like you said earlier, or you're gonna run in a whole new sewer line that's gonna cost you $1 million. The project may be out the window, and they said, okay, fine, forget it. And then that's it. So, there's a whole bunch of things that happen, but a preliminary subdivision plan is primarily just let's get the ideas out there, let's find out where our pitfalls are. But yeah, 2 weeks should be enough. We don't want to string people on, but also, we know that when we get into July and August, we only have one meeting a month. So we try to get things, things really slow down, so we try to get things done in June, clean it up so that we don't drag it out too long. Okay?
And just for the record, there's actually 3 weeks until the next meeting because of the odd fifth Monday.
Okay.
I have a question. Isn't there a requirement on the size of the plot of the lots in our area? Isn't it supposed to be an acre or 3/4 of an acre in the Hillary area?
I think that's half acre.
Still a half acre.
That's residential A,
Yeah,
a half acre.
but up in that area, I thought it was.
Some of the houses, what happens is when you get just a little further up, and I don't have the map in front of me, it goes to rural residential. When you get into rural residential, then it's an acre. Okay? And I'm not sure, without having the line in front of me, where that line exactly is. It does change in that area, so there are some homes in that area that are on 1 acre. That happens in my house happens to be on the line. The house next to me is on a 1/4 acre lot. My acre is, well, I'm just shy of an acre. Okay, and the line is
Sir,
right there.
I'm sorry, what was your name, please, for the minutes?
Oh, David Barron, B-A-R-O-N, 845 West.
Okay, do I have any other questions, comments? Here none, I'll call for the vote to continue to June 5th at 7 o'clock. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Okay, I'll open up the second one. Continue public hearing for Mary Avenue Extension. Well, that's 6:45, wait a minute.
We have 7 minutes before.
Yeah, we got 7 minutes, sorry, I thought it was 6:40.
So can I move to go to the regular meeting?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, move to regular meeting. Call to order.
Patrick Perla.
Here.
Fred Fredericks.
Here.
Paul Weiser.
Here.
Salvador Ciccone.
Here.
John Souza.
Here?
Harold Torioso.
Here.
Thomas Kerrigan.
Here.
Michael Mahan.
Here.
Hey, 100. Minutes of previous meeting.
I'd make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes as written. A very concise and complete, good job.
It's good.
Any additions or deletions or questions? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll go into, I got a few minutes. I'll go into site plans submitted. I got 3.1, 75 Merriam Avenue for site plan approval. That's a scheduling?
This is actually the lot right across from the parking garage downtown. Apparently there was a, yeah, it's small, but there's public parking behind it. There might have been a fire there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It was a 8-unit apartment building, so they're proposing another apartment building. So there was a special permit involved in this, so
You need a month,
I think we're planning on the 19th,
June 19th?
June 19th. And currently we don't have anything scheduled, so
19th, 6:30.
6:30
There will be.
for the site plan.
Okay, for the site plan approval would be, a motion would be for June 19th at 6:30. Motion made, seconded by Sal. Any discussion? Here none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. 3.2, 75 Berry Avenue for special permit approval.
6:35.
And that'll be for 6:35. Yeah, 6:35.
6:30.
Yeah, because we do those together. That'd be also for June 19th at 6:35. Any discussion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. I got a minute.
Let's go to communications.
No, old business. You do 4.1, this is
Yeah.
continue.
Oh, it's West Village.
Yeah,
Oh, I can't do
So,
it, I can.
you can continue it.
Continued.
Okay, 4.1, West Village Lane for preliminary subdivision approval. That's been continued. I don't have to take a vote on that.
That's already been.
1 minute. You do communications.
Yeah, so that's a little.
okay, so
We'll have to wait.
20 seconds.
yeah. it's just-
Tell us stories, sing us something.
Don't ask them.
It's gonna be something to plug.
We have
Can
to
we
sit
do,
there.
can we do 6.2?
No.
Why not?
Go to 7
He doesn't
o'clock.
remember any of the
6.1
words,
is,
and he
I think we have to
mispronounces
schedule
the
a
other
public
half.
hearing.
10
On
seconds.
6.2?
6.1.
You wouldn't
Um,
even get, you'd be giving them, you know.
I did
Here, we
6:45.
talked
Not
about
a
this
1.0.
one, this is the moratorium.
Okay, we're gonna go to 6:45.
6:45. That's all.
Okay, I got 6:45.
Yep.
6:45, continued public hearing for Mary Avenue extension for preliminary summer approval. That's the same as the previous West Village.
Yes.
Whitman and Bingham had a meeting with the DPW on Thursday, and they had similar issues with wetlands and the sewage, and how they're gonna get the sewage, because it's, there they have a different case with, they've been using the spaghetti and the in-house grinder pumps, and there's like 8 or 9 or 10 spaghetti lines in the road now, so they're gonna reroute it to a different location and probably use what we call an E1 system, and that's an in-tank pump. So I don't want to go into details, but it's a little bit different. But the DPW has to approve that and have to come up with the designs. That one may, if they get into the design of the E1, the conditions, that one may take a little bit longer than the first one, but I'm not sure of that now. We'll find out when we sit down with the DPW with their, because they've had some issues in the past with E1 pumps. So I'm just stating that's a fact. So this will be continued until, I'm gonna say June 5th.
Yeah,
7:05.
7:05.
That's,
So moved.
that'll be, they're not together, so I
Yeah,
want
that's
probably
just-
10 minutes or
Yeah.
15 minutes.
May I just say that if it is going to be continued and for whatever reason we're
Okay, we'll do
sitting down for
7:05.
like 15 minutes for the other
Yeah.
one, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Mm.
That'd be
Okay,
what
well,
we do.
okay, we can do that.
Yeah.
But I want to open it up to the audience, just in case there's anyone had any comments. Is there anyone that has any comments about the Mary Avenue extension? Okay. Motion would be in order to move to June 5th at 7:05.
So moved.
Moved by Pat, seconded by Tom. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay, communications now?
Make a motion to return to the regular meeting. Second.
Motion made and second to go to the regular meeting.
Communication.
Yeah, I can, go back to old business.
Yep.
Mary Avenue,
There it
4.2, Mary Avenue Extension preliminary subdivision that has been continued.
Well, can't we do, oh, so can we go into communications? Kristen had a comment.
Well, now, we can do 5.0.
No, you can't.
No.
We can't.
Yeah,
So
but
we
that's
have to do-
scheduled.
It's all
No, those are
predicated on
tonight.
That's
Oh, that's tonight, that's right, that's tonight.
Communication.
Communication, 6.1. Plan board recommendation for second reading ordinance. Amend chapter 22 of the revised ordinance zoning by issuing a new section, Article 2, Section 22-16-12, entitled Recreational Marijuana Establishment Moratorium.
We have to
We have to
schedule that for
schedule a
public.
hearing for
That
that.
has to be a public hearing. I already put them in for 6:50 on the 5th. We do have time to advertise that, so
Oh,
it is
that's right.
3 weeks from now. But I penciled them in for the 7:50. We happen to also have, at 7:40, a petition for, sorry, 6:40, a petition to allow recreational marijuana. Will be at
Okay.
6:40.
So the
This
first
is
one
the
is on the
moratorium.
moratorium. Okay, so motion would be for June
June
5th?
5th
Six
at
fifty.
6:50.
6:50?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for recreational marijuana establishment moratorium on June 5th at 6:50. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. 6.2, Planning Board recommendation for City Council petition 73-17, Keith A. Hansen, and I'll accept Duggan Drive as an accepted street.
That's been long overdue.
That,
It's 30 years. 84.
there's a meeting
I'll just wait for quality.
tomorrow,
It's been postponed.
then postponed. Okay, oh, I didn't see it.
The chairman is very
I know it
sick.
is.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you have any idea when the meeting's gonna be?
Wow.
I don't. He's gonna reschedule it next Monday. At next Monday's city council meeting, he's gonna reschedule it for another date.
Okay,
You can actually, well, let's see what he's.
okay, that, yes,
Chairman, in regards to that meeting, that's more a general meeting regarding street acceptances throughout the city. Dugan Drive, I believe, and, what's the other one? Commonwealth Circle and Federal have been petitioned to the city council individually, which is in my committee, and we've asked to have the DPW look at what the bond is, and also Kristen, I believe, to give us updates on these. I think people really need to understand what the position of the city is on how difficult it is to accept these streets. It's not quite that easy.
yeah.
We went through that on Bicentennial for 3 years. So I think, people need to hear it, get the right information.
Yeah, I don't think we have a bond.
This is like 34.
No, maybe
35
40 years old.
Probably 86, right?
We don't have one for
85,
Dugan.
86.
No, or
Yeah.
Constitution, no.
They can't
As
be.
far as I know, no
Right.
They
bonds.
left a paper trail. I knew
And,
who the
and,
developer
and
was.
those,
You can't
just to
follow.
give you an idea, I went and looked at both of those roads this week. At the time they were built, they probably would have passed, okay, with acceptance by the city council. They have the curb they have granite at the corners, they have the catch basins, they were both wide roads at I think they're both 32 feet wide.
You talking about Commonwealth?
Yeah. Yeah, Commonwealth and Duggan, okay? And Dugan, I guess, Dugan, and they were just driving on it and walking on it. They seemed to be, when they were built at that time. But in those days, we had the bond situation, or the way we handled the bond was different than today. All we had to do is when the developer finished his project, or her project, they went to the DPW and the planning board and say, my project is done. There's still a $30,000 or $40,000 bond, $10,000, I don't know what it was. We would then look at the road and we'd say, yes, it is done. And at that time, the planning board, who controls the bond, would release the bond. Okay. There was no requirement, okay, to go to the city council. So what happened is the developers never did. They never applied to the city council or the city councilor in that ward. Not, you know, I don't know what the circumstances were, so I don't want to make any assumptions. But the next step was never taken to get the road accepted at that time. We now step forward approximately 40 years or maybe more.
30.
Okay, 30 years, and these homes were built, and now those roads, the catch basins are still there and the curbings were there supposed to be, but the roads are in disrepair. Now, but if that was to be built today, we have changed the subdivision regulation that we hold the bond until the final drawings are complete, the as-built drawings are complete, and the developer makes a petition to the city council. Now, we can't require the city council, so we stop at that point because of state laws and things like that. So all we can do is require, as part of our bonding, that developer then go forward and petition the city council for acceptance. So that way it's taken care of at the end. So there's a limbo there, and then we've been doing that now for probably 8 or 10 years. So there's a 20 or 25 year limbo in there, or anything prior to that, where that didn't exist.
This is 35 years ago.
Yeah, so I don't know what to do. Counselor?
Yeah, just to shed a little bit of light, I once had a discussion with Pat LaPointe about this subdivision, and I think he told me that the developer was supposed to put a sidewalk from across from Comstock down toward DeChico Drive, and that never happened. So I don't know if that was a problem back then. You might find that in some of the old paperwork. Yeah. But I think in any event, you know, if that's the case, it's time to forgive it, because it's never going to happen. You know, everything with these streets is fine. The width of them, the lighting is there, the sidewalks are there. They were just never accepted. And I think at this point, and I have a meeting with the mayor tomorrow, I think at this point, you know, we need to see if we can get some kind of a commitment from the mayor to look at legal funding to see what we can do legally to take possession of them. Because at this point, I don't think we have any other options. So I do have a meeting with him tomorrow, and I think that that's going to be, you know, crucial in terms of what he wants to do. Because if he wants to provide funding for whether it be legal fees and or engineering fees to get you know, an engineer to go in there and see what's what with the bounds and all that. I don't know if any of that's been done, but you know, it's going to take funding on the part of the city, and that's going to be up to the mayor if we're going to address this problem once and for all, or I mean, it's never going to take care of itself. So.
No, like I said,
And they're long gone.
And I would think the
Exactly.
They left a paper trail during the middle of construction.
The city's gonna have some responsibility.
well, I think these,
As far as, you know,
No, they paid their guys.
yeah, the people,
you
yeah,
got
some of the people.
25 houses there, or 30 houses there.
Oh, yeah, all of that.
That, you know, their roads falling apart. 30 years ago, when we bought it, it wasn't,
Yeah,
it was
don't
that time,
develop
but,
it, yeah.
you know.
Just for the record, I wasn't able to find anything on Dugan
Yeah,
Drive in
I
our
read
files,
some
it just goes back too far.
Who built it?
Who was?
No idea.
Northwoods Development Corporation.
Yes,
Northwoods.
it was
Yes,
So they're not
yes.
even-
No, you couldn't find them on a piece of paper if your life depended on it.
And they did a lot around the
Shifted,
city.
shifted, and shifted.
What's that?
They did a lot around the city.
They
Yeah,
did a lot,
they
yeah.
did.
Who was that? Do you
They
know?
did, didn't they do up off of?
Weren't they out of Townsend?
Okay.
I have all the paperwork at home.
But I mean, I would think we.
Oh, you have all the
We would
paperwork?
have to take some responsibility for not following up.
Okay.
No, I mean, no.
Oh, wait, excuse me, yes? If you've got-
Mr. Hanson?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm missing
The
it.
petition.
Ken Hansen.
And he provided these photos.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we're in almost one of those things you say, it's a
Yeah,
catch-22.
that's pretty good.
It's, like I said, we had a couple of city councils here this evening, and it's gotta be addressed. And then how do we address it is,
That's a lot of shit.
do we put some money in to the budget every year and say we're gonna put in 500,000, I don't know what the number is.
Time to be paid.
And we're gonna take, and each year we're gonna do 2 or 3 of these, whatever we can do with these roads to bring them up to snuff and accept them. Or accept them and then bring them up to
Yeah.
snuff, yeah. I think we have to accept them first before we spend the money.
Do we know if we have as-built plans on them?
I don't think we do. I've asked.
So we don't even have as-bills, how are you
No.
gonna,
There was no
there's no way you
requirement.
can approve anything without an as-built plan.
Well, no,
They would have to-
you
they would have to-
would have to be prepared as part of the cost of the project. You would have to have an engineering company go in, look at all the pipings, get down into the manholes, see where the inverts are, and so on and so forth, and see if you can figure out the depths and get a basic final plan. Yeah, you're right.
So how,
Today, that doesn't happen. We learn from our mistakes, and today we ask for as-bills. But there was for a lot of years, I mean, I looked at a subdivision, the original plans, the original subdivision regulations we had were about, there was a booklet in 75, was like that big, and probably had 15 pages in it. And it was very sketchy at best. So, and that's all it was. So, we've come a long way since since the
I
80s.
guess the bigger question would be, how would a bond be released without an as-built plan being presented to you?
Because it wasn't required, it may have
You
been,
didn't require an as-built?
no,
At that time.
at that time. Like I said, a lot of,
Yeah,
no.
this was even before our time.
That's-
You've been here forever, don't take.
I know it, it's, even before me.
So have you.
Yeah,
Predates
but
me.
no,
Predates us, that's
I know
what
what
it
the
said.
eighties were like, yeah.
yeah.
Predates
But there
us.
was no, there were no requirements for as-built plans at that time. Like I said, the original Babe, Plecchia, Adam, okay, and he was a contractor, and he showed me, and it was from 75, I think, and all it was a booklet. That's all I can ask. It was folded over about 6 pages or 7 pages folded over, and that was the subdivision regulations and the zoning ordinances. Okay, all in one book. So, yeah, no, there was nobody talked about as-built or any of that stuff. It was, okay, and so, yeah, we're paying for that today.
How many subdivisions in the city do we have like that?
A lot of them.
So what if
Well,
there's a lot
and
of-
I think that's my biggest fear, is that as 1 or 2 or 3 people from a particular area present something to the city council, what about the others that aren't presenting something? I mean, there's a lot of streets that, need some, I mean, Debbie Drive for one, J Avenue and Berry Lane, I've been trying to get stop signs and lights, can't do
I
anything.
wholeheartedly agree with you.
Pay
Okay, let's
taxes.
take it a different scenario. Say back, and I'll pick on 85 for a date, roughly. It's now 85, and the street comes before the planning board. We accept it. Those as-built, the basic DPW requirements. At that time, we went to the city council then accepted it. That could very well have been Dugan Drive. Okay, no problem. Here we are, 35, 40 years later, that road needs repair.
But they paid all.
If we had accepted it in those
35,
days,
40 years.
if it accepted at that time, when it should have been, for the sake of the paperwork, the city would be on the hook for repairing those roads.
It wouldn't be in
I- Okay, it wouldn't be a paper street, okay? And these people, there are people, those houses, all those years have paid their taxes just like everybody else.
And so the,
So I think that that's why we have to come, the city justifiably has the responsibility. There's no way to go back to develop because there was no requirement. We couldn't go to court, we couldn't do anything. So the city has the responsibility to make it right.
So what can we do tonight?
All we can do tonight is make a recommendation back to the city council.
We recommend accepting.
Participate with the council, okay, when they do have their meeting on the streets, unaccepted streets, and I'm willing to do that.
I move we recommend accepting.
And I think that's where we go.
Dugan Drive.
I think you should open up that can of worms, because that's where it
I move
Well,
we-
it's gotta be done, you know?
I second Paul's
Yeah,
motion.
yeah.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor, and I just want to open it up to any other discussion that I might have. And if you say you've got some paperwork and you've got all the background,
Yeah, I have my deed, I have all the bills, the payments, the works.
okay, if you get anything that you could
So I
get
have everything.
to Kristen, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
And that would help us give us something for the background, because
Well,
evidently, I can
that's-
remember, and I'm just gonna say one thing, I can remember going into a past director's office, and there were piles. And he had no idea what was there or where it was. And we got a new director, and about a month later, the piles were gone. So, and I think that's where a lot of this stuff went, and that was a long time ago.
It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you. And that's what I was saying.
So 35
It was
years.
about 30 years ago, maybe 25 years ago. That was about 25 years ago. So,
But I mean, is all your papers, the answer, all your paperwork, is it just, you know, your purchase and sale and that kind of paperwork and the
Well, it has names of
of the parties that
Northwoods
passed the
Development
papers
and
for
so on, and
Northwoods?
there's a variety of different things. I'm sure
Yep.
that there's information there that may be helpful, maybe not.
Yep.
yeah, okay, anything you might have,
If you can-
we'd appreciate it, okay?
If you
And
can
maybe
get it-
we bring it back, huh?
I was gonna say, if you can get it to us before, are we scheduled for the 22nd, Claire, to be before the city council?
Yeah,
Okay, so if you get it to me something this week, then I'll have that for the, when we gather. We can stop right
okay. And like I said, Kristen and I are also scheduled to go to the city council on the 22nd to bring our information. Yes,
Kristen, we haven't gotten any recommendations yet from the DPW. Have you spoken to them? Have you
Not on this
confirmed?
street.
You haven't, so you haven't confirmed that they don't have any as-built yet? Because
No,
the
I haven't.
DPW usually holds those.
Yes, yes.
So
I
that'll be-
haven't
that-
gotten any information from them yet.
Right.
They will, excuse me, they will be prepared for the meeting on Monday, because I believe they've been asked to attend as well.
Okay, so, I mean, that'll be crucial, and
Yep.
if they
They
do,
could
then
have
that's one less piece that we have to try to tackle. If they don't, then that's
Yep,
one added
absolutely,
thing.
yep.
You know, and I think, you know, to Claire's point, you know, it is gonna open up a can of worms, but the reality is I set up a committee to sort of deal with this, and what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to look at every single street, we're gonna have to prioritize, because just throwing our hands up in the air is not, it's not gonna fix the problem. They're just gonna, the roads are gonna continue to deteriorate, and all these problems just continue to fester in the subdivisions, and we're gonna leave these headaches to somebody else if we just don't deal with them sooner than later.
Right.
And
And
start
that's what I
packing
said.
away at them.
so maybe it's a long-term thing, but we're gonna, a plan should be put in, okay, to the city council, to the mayor, is that it become a line item in the budget, almost, whereas, you know, we address all, there were so many of them. There are a lot of roads that houses built in the 60s, okay? And they were built with a little, even less requirements, and then we had the ones in the 80s. At least the ones on the 60s have, you know, granite curbings on the corners and some of those things. Some of the ones on the 60s don't have anything, no sidewalks, and, you know, they were just oiled roads. Okay, so they're really shabby. So, I mean, when you get back into those, and most of those, they're not 32 feet wide, most of those are in the 20, 22, maybe 24 if you get a big one, you know, wide.
Just out of curiosity, I don't know if you remember, and I can't remember the exact details, but there was something going back to the Birchcroft area, back when there was looking for a street acceptance, and I think you guys were here at the time.
Yeah.
But I think the whole plan was off. The houses weren't positioned on the lots properly. The points on the curves weren't proper in the turns of the roadway. I think that whole upper Birchcroft area, I think was part of that. Some of Comstock. I think that was a big part of the problem, why that was kind of like stopped dead in its tracks at that point, because there was no way of being able to figure it out. I don't know if we have anything in our city council records, but that was a major discussion probably 20 years ago.
Right. And that's the same thing. That happens today.
And it's gonna happen a lot.
Right.
With some of the way the developers, or I see it doing appraisals where properties are crossing over and the lots aren't correct.
Yep. So, okay.
Let's not get into
We don't have to, this is just a recommendation to the city council, so we don't have to set up a meeting tonight. Tonight is basically the meeting, because it's not a site plan, it's not a, okay, so we'll take that information that we have from this evening. We'll get your information, be in touch with the DPW, and I think this is an ongoing thing, but I think your motion is in order, that we make a recommendation to the city council that plans be put forward to accept Duggan Drive.
Do we need to vote?
Okay? Yeah.
Duggan Drive.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Go back to 7 o'clock.
Yeah, go back to my 7 o'clock hearing. Okay, 7 o'clock, open public meeting for 275 Central Street for site plan approval. Do I have a representative here?
257?
Yeah.
257, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm dyslexic, I guess. I don't know.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, easy for you to say.
Before you is a proposal.
Excuse me, sir.
Tax
Will you
Brazil.
please identify yourself, sir?
Tax Brazil, 78 Maple Avenue, agent for Auto Match Pre-Owned. Thank you for your time this evening.
Can you put that up there, please?
Yes.
Yeah, you put that up so we can see it and they can...
Yeah.
I gotta get Carol.
John, this is it's related to the next item,
And it is
the open public meeting for 7/28.
Okay, open that up too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll open up the public meeting for
7:28.
It's 7:28.
57 is here.
for
7:57 is
seven.
open, yes, and then this is 7:28.
Yeah. Together.
You're doing them
So
both.
I think the best way to proceed is.
For 728, yeah. Central Street Site Plan Major Modification Approval.
Since we have multiple sheets here, I think what, unless there's an
Let's
objection,
do
I'll
this
start
one
with
first.
257.
Yeah.
Kind of walk through that,
Okay,
including the department reviews, and then go to 728, which has a nexus.
Yep.
So 257, for those of you that are not aware of this location, it has long been a dealership all the way back to Goodell Ford, the Lincoln Mercury dealerships, Apollo Ford. The Automax Pre-Owned is looking to continue the use on this property. The previous tenants had a short term there and never followed through with site plan approval, so we're here to kind of correct that and put it in front of this board. The recommendations I have from the different department reviews, pretty much like everything's been approved. There is a notation from the DPW director for 20-foot wide aisles, and that can be accomplished, unfortunately, with my plan that's up here.
I think you've got 24s on there.
Yeah, but there are three spots, to the DPW director's point, where if I take out 1, 2, 3 spaces, there will be a minimum of at least 20 to 24 feet everywhere for emergency access.
Oh, okay.
So
Within the
Well,
lot.
I can see where you get 12 feet here.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I have 13 feet here in this one corner. If I
Yep.
take out this end, since these are 8 by 15, I will get my 20 feet because this is on. This can actually slide down a little. This one, if I take this end off, because there's not, if you measure this with a scale, these can slide. They were, actually the engineer pulled them a little bit off the lot line. It really is more for convenience than, this isn't meant to be an aisle. So this would basically, this would be eliminated, this would be eliminated, and this would be eliminated, and we would have a minimum of 20, if not greater, for access within the interior of the lot. Here, we eliminated all the parking along here so that this could back to not, there's no backing through 12, which was a previous comment which did make it to the review form, but just to kind of give everybody an idea. So these sites have always been used in conjunction with each other. There is a crosswalk here. Well, I'll get into the landscaping last. We are also currently speaking to the Brachelias about leasing this property for employee parking, which would come, I guess, as if it does happen as a minor site modification at a later date. But right now, it's our thought to, this lot's just a mud lot, is to improve this lot, grade it, and create employee parking within basically the confines of what's being shown here. What I'll also, well,
Pat, how many spots are required?
right now we have 110, we have 111.
And how many are required?
110, one handicap, which is what's required under the ordinance.
And when you lose those other spots, are you gonna drop beneath that?
Yeah, it'll go to 107
Yeah.
plus 1, absolutely, because I have to go in front of the license commission with your recommendation,
Yep.
so I would want it to be the right number.
Yep.
So instead of where you see here 110 plus 1, it would be 107 plus 1. Also, while I'm up here, there was a comment, and hopefully Mark will get a chance to respond, that
Yep.
we're merely cleaning up here at the top of this hill. Former tenants would push snow and things over the banking down towards the brook. So the idea here is to really not do anything to disturb anything within the 100-foot buffer other than rake it out, put some mulch down, maybe put some, and I have a landscape plan, some small bushes which will prevent you from, unless you're kind of crazy.
Erosion,
Just
yeah.
pushing stuff over and some erosion control. Also,
Hand out your landscape.
along this border, these aren't quite in the right position. The idea here is, and it can be done with either plantings or fencing, whichever this board deems amenable to it. The idea is, the previous tenants were basically pulling out onto other property. It just, there was no, and what we did when we did site plan review on 728, we ended up with a fence. So what we're planning here is a planter or a piece of fencing, something that basically creates an aisle that doesn't get driven through or driven onto from the other side. So think of these in the center of the aisles as opposed to, they're not quite centered in the aisle. So again, it's just to really stop someone from accessing or exiting onto the abutment. Because right now, it's just, if you ever drive by there, it's, you don't know whose cars are whose, people are parking kind of like all over the place. And what we're hoping to do with this plan and this site plan review is clean up what's really going on these two lots. It's, it's always been a car dealership, but we're trying to put some order and some sense to the parking, using an engineer's plan on how these should be parked. They're double stacked only because this isn't like you go into the grocery store, they're more for display. We limited the number of sales in parking in the front for obvious reasons. We don't want anybody to be able to back out onto Route 12. We eliminated where they were formerly parking here along this side where it was causing cars to either back out or try to pull out. So now they can pull in, back out here and go that way. Delivery of cars, there's more enough room here for delivery of cars up Route 12. Let's see, along the very front, which you'll see in that landscaping plan, there's actually asphalt right now. The idea is to remove the asphalt and put a nice planting bed in there. The issue typically has been, salt, winter. Fortunately, there's a sidewalk here. So even though the snow's still going to get pushed up on the sidewalk when the city plows come, we think that planting bed should be able to be maintained here, giving some beautification to this site. Also here on the access to the right side of the building, the idea is to create some plantings that'll do two things. One, give you a little beautification test.
Why don't you put this drawing up so that you can see?
My beautiful copy. Like I said, and it shows better here. Here we'll just clean it up, put some mulch and some low bushes. For erosion, for beautification, and to keep people from trying to, because there is a brook here. Here, we'll take out the asphalt along, and there's actually a little grade change here, so we'll remove the asphalt and put in some mulch and some plantings that will be at least hopefully hardy enough and resilient enough to, the plows are going to plow up on them, so obviously what we've picked we think will survive. If not, we'll certainly have a maintenance schedule of maintaining this. But the trick here is this is Lottie's overflow lot. For anybody that knows it, you come around this corner, there's really nothing from Crown Street to here, so we're proposing, we have a sign here, putting something at the base of that sign, and then here, before where they had cars literally lined up along Route 12, we created a visual break and a natural break, so these cars will be sort of forced into these spots, and then have to back out and pull onto Route 12 instead of trying to back into Central Street. So that's pretty much the thought process for 257. As I said, it does say 110 plus 1, so it would be 107 plus 1. We would comply with the DPW director's request to create a minimum of 20-foot aisles everywhere. So like I said, this wasn't meant to be, so this will slide down. We'll lose this one. This one will lose this. This is a little off, but this will slide. So we'll have at least 24, we'll have a minimum of at least 20 foot in all of the travel within the right side and the left side of this.
Now those in the front of the building, those pull out into 12, right?
Right. They would be backed
there's
in,
no
that's why they're
curb cut
display.
Right.
I'm sorry, yeah, these would basically be cars on display. They wouldn't be for customers. Customer parking would be here and here. And then there's a service garage to the rear of this property with a big double door here and a big double door here. The cars, as they get serviced, actually get pulled in one way and pulled out. So this would be for customer parking for either service or, if customers came to buy a car. So there would be some customer parking here and some customer parking here. This would pretty much be repair, and what would happen is when a customer is picking up their car, it would basically be brought out probably pretty much in this area after it's been serviced because they're not allowed in the garage, delivered, and then the customer would pull out a bond and go on their merry way. Any questions?
Now you said your employee parking, but it's not part of this plan.
No, right now the employees, because we don't have a lot of employees, would probably up in this right corner, which is storage. If you've ever been on this lot, there's actually a fence here, and then there's actually a corner tucked behind Lottie's overflow lot. The employees would park back here. Pretty much any employee that's coming, would come, stay. Fortunately, there's within walking distance. There's CVS, restaurants, Leominster Plaza is literally 1 block away. But, yeah, the employees would park literally back here, which is why it says 110 employee, customer and display. So we've kind of encompassed that, you know, for what, you know, employees we would have. They probably would be parked here because they're gonna be here for the day.
Okay.
Pat, is there, I can't remember, I mean, I know the property well, is there a fence between the Lottie overflow
Yeah.
and that?
Well, it's kind of interesting. What happens here is, it was the subject of a lawsuit at one point, for those of you that remember. There is a fenced triangle,
Right,
and believe it or not, Lottie's does not own that. Bill Soyce owns that, and Lottie's owns Crown Street, which abuts on the other side. So they're right now talking to each other about Bill acquiring the triangle and Lottie's acquiring the lot on Crown Street, but I'm not quite sure where that's at,
so the fence only covers the triangle, does it go back to?
the fence comes
employee parking?
literally right here, if you
Yeah.
guys, and I think it would have come before you, they had no Gulf Station right here, which they tore down, to improve
Yep.
their overflow lot. So this is a wall that goes actually up, and then there's a triangle in here that is actually, it's funny, like I said, it's owned by Lottie's right now, but they really, because there's a stone wall there, and then a fence on top of the wall
Okay.
here.
Right, because that's that big
So,
wall in the back,
this,
right?
this triangle does them no good, and it
Right.
really is only of some value to Mr. Soyce, who owns this property. And Crown Street, which has like a 4-foot wall and a fence, is of no use to Mr. Soyce. And Lottie's is the only one that really, one, can access it. It's right up from their overflow lot. It has a fence on the Crown Street side if you're coming by, so my understanding they're in communication, but I've been told that's been going on for a while, so. I'm not included in that.
Well, you showed that on your drawing, it's this diamond, so you can get into that overflow lot without going through that
Yeah,
lane?
there's a fence right now to the outside of the diamond,
Okay,
if I come this way. And that's why I had the engineer show it. If you look right now, there's a fence, an existing fence that
Yeah.
runs right to here and then
Yeah.
cuts back. And-
Okay.
And like I said, if you ever do look in the property, there's a whole corner back here in the hill
Yeah.
that belongs to this property.
okay. Okay. Do you have anything else you wish to add?
Questions? Any questions?
I'll open this up to the audience. Do I have any questions or comments from the audience? I'll ask a second time. Do I have any questions or comments from the audience? Okay. Board members, do you have any questions or comments?
Can I add a comment?
Yeah, because you had.
You
Pat
got-
had referenced the Conservation Commission earlier, so
Yep.
here's an email from the Conservation Agent. I spoke with Pat today regarding this property. Please inform the planning board that the applicant won't need to file with the Conservation Commission for the landscape improvements shown.
Okay,
For
good.
the record.
And then you had comments, Chris,
That lighting, you have a concern about lighting, is that resolved?
Yeah, indicating the lighting.
There are existing lighting poles on the property. After I saw that Friday, it was a
I
little
meant
late.
on the building side.
Oh,
They
the
must have
building,
existing
on the building, all the lighting, there are no pole lighting, they're all wall packs, and they comply with the lighting ordinance that they don't shine onto another person's property. Matter of fact, most of the lights in the front, all the lights in the front are soffit lights. And to the back side of the garage, it's just at the garage door openings, and to the front side of it also. So none of the lighting leaves the confines, certainly doesn't shine in any of the windows of the abutters, which are across the street here. The Bouchers are actually uphill. There's like a 4-foot wall, so there is no lighting back there. To the Lottie's lot, there's no lighting there other than the back door, and it doesn't reach their property. And on Crown Street, the nearest house is 300-400 feet away, and it certainly doesn't impact it.
Okay.
And then police had a comment too. Police department will not allow the loading and unloading of vehicles to occur on the public roadways.
Yeah, and that's why we actually have literally a very long area here, and most of the cars now, if you notice, cars, they tend to be delivered very early in the morning now. You know, the idea of loading and offloading on public ways is an issue pretty much everywhere. So, and especially on this corner. Any guy that wants to offload on that corner is gonna be a little crazy.
They don't offload on Bond Street?
Nope, we've never offloaded on Bond Street.
Okay.
This is such a long stretch that it literally, the advantage is you can pull a 6-car carrier into here, especially in the morning. You can pull up here because there's no sidewalk here. He can pull in, offload everything and be gone pretty quickly.
Okay. Okay. Do I have any other comments? Hearing none. Motion to,
Close, I make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded to close the hearing. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Now we,
We'll get it to 7:28.
Which is already open?
Yeah, 7:28 is open.
Kevin can explain why these are late.
So, in the narrative, let me quickly tell you why we're listening to these together. 728 is the current home for Automax Pre-Owned. And when 257 became available, it made sense because there is an attached repair facility at 257 that did not exist at 728. So literally, Automax Pre-Owned has other locations in Marlboro and Framingham and Attleboro. They were shipping cars to Framingham to get fixed, to bring them back to Leominster to sell, which when 257 came up, it sort of was like a blessing, which gave rise to an opportunity at 728. 728, for everybody that's not aware, is the corner of Central Street in Litchfield. This is the Speedway, this is the Sunoco, this is the bank, this is the apartments, there's apartments, condos back here. So this is what it says, and I'll go through the landscaping plan on the next page, but the idea was here, there was a 100-car license. And this now is going to become a truck, basically sort of like Chapter Lanes. This is going to become a truck center, and actually we filed for a name, Automax Trucks, filed with the city clerk, got a business certificate. So what will happen is at the other location, because of literally the topography and the geography of the lot, to maximize the number of cars there, which the idea was to replace the 100 cars that are here, they fit over there better, with better flow, with a better mentality. So the idea was to take a look at this site with a new set of eyes. Trucks are bigger, trucks are wider. So we've actually reconfigured this lot. And I think, I'll check, last I knew there was like 70 storage spaces and I think one, I forgot them in the car, and one handicap. So effectively, this has been reconfigured to take trucks, as opposed to just saying, well, we've already got 100 cars striped over there, let's go stuff 100 trucks on this lot. It wasn't good planning. So in working with the planning department, obviously, the idea is this will be better configured. You'll see minimum 24, 31. Trucks need bigger turn radiuses. Everything that this should be, as if it were a blank slate, we've re-engineered to lay out so that it becomes a truck center. So the modification would be is this would go from a 100-car lot to a 71-car truck lot. Then also what happened in our previous site plan review was there was landscaping previously here. This, what you see is asphalt. Behind the building is actually asphalt here too. I don't know why it's not in black. We, in that site plan review, put a brand-new white vinyl fence, which is across the entire back of this property to screen it from the apartments that are behind it. All the lighting is not changing. It all shines into the lot, not on any of the buildings where there are tenants. Also, this is mulched in front of the fence now. There's, we actually mulched all the way to the abutters property down to their curb, and have maintained that. We're just showing what we own. There's a, this is shown as green for the purpose of just letting this board know that we don't own that. However, if you were to drive by there today, it's all mulched. We just took it upon ourselves to look. It used to be full of weeds. I don't think the city, when it was icy. Yeah, when it was icy,
It's an
there were
ATM.
weeds and
The
trash.
snake driveway to get into it.
It was all kinds of
Yeah.
craziness, and this lot had things we won't even discuss in an open meeting on it, but, so, our proposal would be is to landscape the strip we own. There are plants there now, but they've really not held up to the winter and to the salt, and et cetera. So we would maybe plant something a little more hardy, but it's still our intention, though I'm not sure whether I can I'm not sure I can legally commit to it, but we are going to mulch this entire strip that's shown as city land unless we're told to, not to, or to remove it.
Don't tell them.
But yeah, at this point, I would, and there's also the issue that at this point in Central Street, it's actually within the state layout. So the question of whether that's state property or city property, we just agree with the planning department that, you know, this is a high impact corner. This island actually gets maintained by Dandini, if you've ever gone by. They do a nice job with that island. Speedway doesn't have really much of landscaping, neither does Speedway, but when you get to this corner, coming either way, you know, we're in agreement that this needs to be kicked up a notch, and that's part of why we're here for modification.
And curb cuts are the same, everything's
Yeah,
the
no-
same, it's just the interior
Everything
layout.
everything internally other than number of vehicles and the restriping, and that's why basically I wanted to make sure it was clear, and, you know, this is restriping, so all those that are there now, we'll blacken it, and there'll be new stripes for trucks.
Pat, what about required parking on this one? You put a license for 75 trucks, right?
Well, I think it's 70 plus one, says here's a
70 plus
handicap, so it's 70.
But
so-
the one handicapped is for a customer.
Right, but what'll happen here is, right now, as we do it now, our employees and stuff park to the backside on the, well, I don't have that. But right now, there's a similar configuration of cars back here, and we have employee and customer parking here, and some gear. So this will accommodate all of that here, and then, you know, all the rest will be for display. But, you know, there's good turning radiuses for fire trucks and things. There's also here, we have a nice long run. Every time we've delivered cars, we've pulled them right into the site, delivered them, and you know, with this, it'll be even better because the truck's gonna be able to basically go like that, and out it goes. I mean, fortunately, we're not bringing anything bigger than 6-car loaders, so they're big, but they're not that big. They can maneuver certainly within 24 and 31 foot aisleways. Questions?
Okay, I'll open it up to the audience. Do I have any questions from the audience? Yes,
How many trucks are allowed there now?
excuse me, ma'am, could you please identify yourself?
Claire Frida, Counselor at Large, 117 Debbie Drive.
Well, technically 100.
There's 100 trucks,
No, but
Allowed now?
technically 100. We have a license for 100 used vehicles. A Class 2
Including
dealer's
trucks?
license, no, they're trucks and cars. But I'm saying, you asked the question, your answer to your question is, technically, we could put 100 trucks there.
On the
That's why
license there.
that's why we come back with an engineering plan that's common sense, that we don't want to put 100 trucks there. We
Your
wanna
license
make-
doesn't
like
say
this.
trucks or cars, it just says 100 vehicles.
Yeah, a Class 2 dealer's license allows you to have used vehicles. It does not distinguish between cars and trucks.
I will disagree that the other corner doesn't have a whole lot of issues. The Speedway, you're going through that light and you have 2 cars one trying to go straight, another one trying to go straight, and then somebody's turning into the speedway off of Route 12. I mean, you can't say that that's not, there's not much traffic on that corner. I mean, all four corners.
I didn't speak to traffic, I was talking about
I think
landscape.
I think he was talking about landscape.
I was talking about landscape, I haven't spoken to traffic. I never mentioned traffic or traffic issues.
Your traffic is only on 12, correct?
Right, and what we did when we came to the first site plan review, when we first did 728, there used to be 2 curb cuts here.
Right.
We actually closed this one off, like there's parking here, this one does not get used, so we had one means of ingress and egress, so it was very clear if someone's trying to get in or out of this lot. And we've had no issues on this side of Central Street in front of this lot. The police, as you can read the reports, had really no issues with this lot.
Are you gonna close that curb cut, you're gonna leave it?
No,
just in
the
case?
curb cut will stay the same.
The other one, the second
No,
one?
it's gonna stay closed.
Yeah.
It's closed now, it will stay blocked by vehicles. and
Right, but I mean,
landscaping.
it's still an open curb.
Well,
What
you
he's
don't
saying
wanna
is
give,
you're
you
gonna
never wanna
block
give
it.
up a curb on Route 12.
Absolutely.
That's an active
So John's just saying you're gonna do what you're
That's,
doing now.
sure,
Okay,
walking,
that's all.
walking on water, I really
Yep.
don't wanna give that up.
Yep.
Plus, you have 2 ownerships here. This is actually leased, this portion, and this is owned. This is owned by Mina Property Group, and this is owned by Paul DeSalvo. This has a 20-year lease, and this is owned by, actually, Mina Property Group actually is the owner of Automax, who leases this property back to the lot.
Okay. Okay. Do I have any other questions? Okay. Motion would be in order?
What, I'll just, while the department reviews, they're all, everyone approves except, well, they all approve and planning's comments provide additional details of proposed landscaping.
Right.
Which is,
Well, we get into that later.
Yeah, but it's there anyway.
Yeah.
So,
All good?
so we'll just close the hearing. Motion to close the, 7:10 open meeting for 7:20, for 2:57.
250,
We closed that one.
no, 728.
Okay, so moved.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Okay. Open public meeting for 60 Hospital Road for site plan, major modification approval. Carol, you did this one before, right?
Yeah.
Dave Wada and I will talk about this. You may recall there was a approval for site plan for the hospital
Thank you.
with conditions. I also have copies of that. We're proposing some changes to the conditions. I only printed a couple copies of this, but these are the original approvals. Just highlighted the relevant conditions. So, you may recall that the mayor had sent the board a letter about the traffic study, and there was concern that more should be done on the traffic study in the area. So what I did is basically issued a request for proposals to different traffic engineers to specifically address some of the concerns that the mayor had. In short, that would be to evaluate the change in traffic volume and patterns along the North Main Street corridor over the time span from 1998 through the present. We did find several old traffic studies that date back to 1998, and I think it's 2007, maybe 2015, and then 2016 that could be used for this. would like to determine the number of vehicle trips and the percentage of overall traffic volume that can be attributed to the various businesses in the area and which might be attributable to through traffic. And 3, to offer short-term and long-term solutions for traffic issues based on recommendations made in the past studies, as well as the vendor's recommendation as an independent consultant. I received back 2 proposals. I must have sent it to 6 different vendors, but some were unable to put forth a proposal, so I did receive 2, and I received this one was the low bidder at $10,700. And the idea is to include this as part of the hospital's condition and to remove some of the required traffic equipment that was part of the original approval. So the other paper I handed out was sort of a detail of what might make sense to do that. The first page.
Okay, I'm letting Carol handle this because she was the vice chairman that handled this hearing at the time.
Uh-oh.
All right, so,
Let's pass
do you want me to read the letter?
Yes.
Is that what I'm doing? All right, so this is from Kristen to, no, yeah. from
Do you
Kristen.
have the first page
To
I handed out,
help.
the email?
Yes, you want me to start with that?
Yeah, that sort of outlines.
So
what
this is to Dave Bellato, representative of Health Alliance. Good morning, I received 2 proposals for this project and have selected one to go forward. They are the low bidder of $10,700 at the 5/15 Planning Board meeting. We will ask the board to modify the approval to remove condition 10 and replace it with 2 new conditions. One is to provide the Opticon equipment for the relevant traffic signals, and the second is for the applicant to pay for a traffic study analysis to be conducted by a traffic engineer selected by the planning board. The analysis will be completed within 3 months, and the resulting deliverables will be available as referenced during the meeting that will be arranged after the first traffic study is conducted, condition number 11. I'm hoping in the late fall timeframe. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Good. Great.
Okay.
So, okay, that's good. And then, Kristen.
So Health Alliance is gonna pay for the study. Are we including Mary and Nelson Streets in the study?
Those intersections are included. I have a copy of the proposal.
Yep. Perfect.
If anyone wants to see that, but they do include the following intersections: North Main Street at Washington, North Main Street at Hospital Road, North Main Street at Nelson, North Main Street at Hamilton Street, Washington at McKay Street, Washington Street at Grove Street, and Nelson Street at Hospital Access Drive. So it's really that whole corridor.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. Good.
Okay.
Saying yes.
All right, great.
Oh, I
And
know.
then,
Dave said he's gonna do it.
Dave says he's gonna do it. It's gonna happen. So we know that. So that's good.
okay, and then you sent a letter, this email was dated Thursday, May 4th, and on March 31st, Kristen, as the planning director, sent a letter to UMass stating,
That's the approval. That's the,
this is our
site plan
original,
approval,
the
yes.
original approval.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and we had the conditions as follows, and the condition, I'll just go to condition number 10, was that the and our approval was on February 22nd, 2017. And then number 10 specifically stated, traffic study to include the following: A, traffic cameras; B, Opticon; C, North Main Street and Nelson Streets, necessary controller upgrades; and D, safer travel through intersections. And condition 11 was a meeting will be arranged after the first 6-month traffic study that includes representatives from the hospital, water tower, CVS, McDonald's, Workers Credit Union to discuss the results of the study and make decisions regarding implementing solutions. Health Alliance will then appear before the board to discuss the results of the study and the joint meeting. And that's what Kristen refers to in her May 4th email to Mr. Bellato.
Just to clarify, because it's very confusing, we have studies and studies. There's actually 2 different things. The hospital's already obligated to do a 6-month traffic analysis once they start construction, which is about now, right? Over the summer?
30 days probably.
Right. So as part of that, they have to do traffic studies every 6 months through construction. So they're going to be doing that anyway. In the meantime, I'm calling it the traffic study analysis because we're really analyzing traffic studies over a period of time. So the analysis will be done within the next 3 months. So that'll be done. The traffic study will go on in, that the hospital is already obligated to do, and this should all sort of culminate in, like, I'm thinking the late fall for condition number 11, which is getting all the relevant parties together, going over all this data, and try to figure out what can be done, we should have a better picture then of where the traffic's being generated from, where the trips are going, how much of it's through traffic versus going to Watertown versus McDonald's, versus the hospital. And then we can have more information to talk about solutions. Also at the same time, other things are going on. The rail trail is going through that area. MassDOT has done a road safety audit in that area, which is also going to be reviewed as part of this, this analysis project. So all of that should be reviewed at that point, and then when we get together to talk, we should have some really good information there.
So, so 10, in our original conditions of approval, number 10 should now read, traffic study to include the following. 1, it's going to be A, Opticon, to provide Opticon equipment for the relevant traffic signals, and B, applicant to pay for a traffic study analysis to be conducted by a traffic engineer selected by the planning board. And we're eliminating A, traffic cameras, C,
And
controller upgrades, and D, safe travel through intersections.
we're
And please-
rewriting the
okay.
whole thing, we just eliminate,
That's
I mean,
why
I know it
threw
says
in-
Opticon, but
I just
we're
phrased
eliminating.
it as eliminate
Sure.
Yep.
condition 10,
Okay.
just throw that out,
Yep,
and then
put the new one in.
put Opticon
Okay.
as a new condition.
Yep.
Because that Opticon equipment is specifically geared toward ambulances and hospital traffic.
Yep.
So that is, something that would be totally on them.
Okay.
The rest of it is all part of the general traffic flow in that area, so we took that off the table for now.
It works.
So that would require 2 motions.
No.
Oh, you can
One
make
motion
motions.
to, yeah.
Okay.
To
So,
modify
well, what I'm
the-
gonna, because this is under, yes, I,
You can repeal and replace it.
because this is under, this is an open,
There you go.
this is a
Wow,
public
look at
meeting.
you,
Let's,
repeal and replace. I make a motion.
Open it to the audience. Mr.
Oh,
Polani
sorry.
has something to say.
So the 6-month thing, do you write that in that? Is that a different? piece
That's
of paper?
already in there, is it's
Oh,
condition
okay.
11.
That's a number 11,
Right.
that's correct. I'm gonna open up the audience. Anyone have any questions or comments about 60 Hospital Road and the modification to the conditions? Okay, hearing none, Giselle? You have
Motion
to close the hearing.
Yeah, all right, motion to close the
One
hearing.
comment.
Sorry.
Yes,
I have to recuse myself.
yes, and that's noted in the,
Okay.
will be noted in the minutes. Motion made to close the hearing, second by Fred. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Okay, another alligator.
7:30. Yeah.
Yeah, make a motion.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, we have to, we'll have to do it in the regular meeting.
No,
We
just
have
on
to
the
we have the
regular
last
meeting.
meeting to
Regular
go.
meeting.
We do that in the regular meeting.
Yep.
Okay. 7:30, public, for, open public meeting for 241 North Main Street for site plan approval. Walk-in Med Express. Yeah, we can come on this too.
Same car, right?
Yes.
That's good.
Brian, I might have some bigger binder clips.
You some heavy duty clips?
To the front. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Get it? Yeah, I got it.
Technology upgrade.
Find it later.
Only the latest and greatest.
I'm not gonna try to get it.
Oh, it's on
The
you.
shoulder replacement.
I know. Well, we're gonna do something about that.
All right, you've been
Okay.
patient.
Thank you. My name is Brian Jones. I'm with Allen and Major Associates. We're civil engineers and land surveyors, structural engineers, landscape architects. And with Juan Flores with Mid Express. He's a project architect there. And the project tonight is 241 North Main Street, and it is the redevelopment of the IC Federal Credit Union building. So it is a 3,000 square foot building with a drive-through, and the proposal is to tear down the drive-through and do a 2,000 square foot addition. Med Express, maybe a little introduction. It's an urgent care clinic. They're open 363 days a year from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., closed Christmas and Thanksgiving. No appointments needed. They have around 10 employees. They treat sprains, broken bones, flu, etc. They have x-ray. They can perform blood work. There is a select number of prescriptions available for patients only. It's not a pharmacy, and patients aren't required to purchase their medication there. There's no overnight beds. At startup, they anticipate about 30 patients a day, and then an average patient load for their facilities is about 50 patients a day. If they get anywhere near 80, then they start looking for another location in the community. A little bit about the site. I have another board here. I'll just hold up. It is a 4.8-acre site, and it has 3 buildings. It has the Applebee's, the Longhorn, and the Federal Credit. It's this entire triangle here. There are 255 existing parking spaces, and it's currently zoned as commercial here, and then this side is zoned residential A, and the zone line kind of bifurcates the site right down the drive aisle.
Excuse me.
So we're going to tackle that residential zoning with the ZBA later on this week. So, as I said, the proposed improvements include a 2,000 square foot addition. It looks something like this. So the white is basically the footprint of the existing building, and the drive-through is right about here. That would come down, and then this would be added on to the end of the building. So it goes from a 3,000 square foot building to a 5,000 square foot building. But to visualize it, the old drive-through corner is basically held at this corner of the building. You can see the islands right in that area. We would relocate the accessible parking spaces. Right now they're here, and the bank entrance is here. This is going to be the front entrance. The accessible parking spaces would be put there. We would reconstruct the sidewalks around the perimeter of the building. We are replacing all of the landscape material, and this is probably a pretty good representation. This is the landscape plan colored, so these are all the plants that are proposed, and we did submit a detailed landscape plan as well. We're going to replace the screen around the existing dumpster. There's a net add of 6 parking spaces with this concept. Lighting, we're going to just keep all the existing pole lights that are out there. I mentioned the residential zoning district. We do require a special permit for expansion of a non-conforming use, and we will be in front of the zoning board to request that. For stormwater management, the project actually is a reduction in pavement area. Just with the way we've configured it, we're pulling out about 1,600 square feet of pavement. So that is providing a net reduction in rate and runoff leaving the site. The rest of the drainage on the site we're going to leave in place. For utilities, the existing building, we're going to keep the underground electric, cell data, water, gas, sewer, although we do need to relocate. There's a manhole here, sort of in an open area, so we're going to pull that out, and there'll be a relocation of the existing sewer manhole. I did provide a brief summary of traffic impacts in the cover letter. Based on the IT handbook, the bank generated approximately 445 trips per day, just as a bank with a drive-through facility. And the Med Express, or clinic, that would generate approximately 180 trips per day. And that's a reduction of 265. So the project itself provides a reduction in average daily traffic to this part of the site. We did get department comments. Generally, they were pretty minor. I think perhaps the largest comment was from police, and they had requested a traffic study. And I think that part of that has already been discussed tonight, and we'll see if the board has some thoughts regarding that. The rest of the comments, DPW wanted a plan view of the sewer manhole. We can certainly provide that. That should be no problem. That's it. I'm here to answer questions. I also have renderings of the site, of the building profile. The idea would just be to match the existing brick, kind of weave in the building addition.
Why don't you put that up? So
Yeah,
people
shall we see?
can just-
Snow storage staying the same?
I do have a graphic for snow storage. So the building addition, it's just going to be a match of the building style. So the same roof lines. This is a new gable, but the brick would be matched throughout. Some of the windows would be removed and relocated, but a very close representation of what is there today. Same style, same roof. This would be the building addition right here. So it's kind of woven into the old building. I do have a graphic on the snow storage. So the idea on this site, because we have so much parking, by zoning we're only required to have 113, and we have 261 on the site. Ideally, if you have more parking than you need, keep the snow on the pavement, because you save the landscape, it's easier to clean up in the spring. So the theory would be to stockpile it down here if necessary, and along here if necessary. Within parking spaces, and there still would be ample parking, even with the reduction of the 41 spaces.
So this is all your overflow parking?
Well, there's 3 uses, and what we've done is there's a mixed-use parking table that we also submitted, and we've allotted 114 spaces for Applebee's. By your zoning, they only require 54. For Longhorn, they have 95, and they only require 51. And our Med Express technically only requires 8. Now, Med Express would prefer 30. So they have 52, which is more than they need. So you can see for each of the uses, there's an oversupply of parking, and we would suggest...
Where's the 52?
So it'd be 8, 6, 10, 2, 4, 4, 3, and 6. They get that.
There's plenty of parking in that
Yeah,
entire
I
area.
think-
I just would.
So by zoning, they have 140 extra spaces. So for snow storage, it's a little bit unusual, but I'm suggesting we stockpile on the pavement, as opposed to trying to put it onto some of the landscape areas.
Okay. Yes, Carol?
So my question, we have to talk about the dreaded traffic study. So, you know, I understand, you know, I appreciate you having done a trip analysis. There were 445 trips per day with the bank, and you anticipate 180 trips per day. I have to think, even if it's 180, it's 24 hours a day minus 2 days out of the year, and it's the
No, it's
bank.
only 8 days.
You only open 12 hours a day? Okay.
8 to 8.
All right, I missed that part. But you're going to be open Saturday and Sunday as well? So, I mean, if you think about it over the course of a year, I don't know. I mean, it's still a little bit different than,
I believe this was also a 24-hour facility, 7 days a week, particularly with the drive-through, so.
Okay, well, with the drive-through, but that would be, I'm thinking you're gonna have more than 180 trips a day, but I don't know, but I'm just thinking in terms of Health Alliance, you know, the timing is everything, right? And we just revised their conditions tonight, and where we're taking into account and hoping that other areas of the other neighbors in that area going to participate in the traffic study analysis. You know, I'm thinking that your facility should be included in that as well, considering you're directly across from the hospital, and also because it's a condition of, or a comment from the police department as well.
Well, let me ask this, is Applebee's and Longhorn gonna be part of the study as well?
Theoretically, all of the
supposed
businesses
to
in
be
that,
part.
yes, so we'll have to be contacting them and see who we're gonna
Right.
get to this meeting, but yes, they would be
Right.
part of that, those local businesses.
Yeah, yeah. But that's this side, now we want the other side. Because if they're gonna participate, there's no reason that this shouldn't be part of that participation.
That whole complex should be in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they certainly will be contacted
Yep.
and will be trying to, you know, coordinate everyone for a meeting. So that's part of what, you know, I can't guarantee who's gonna actually
Right.
show up, but that is the goal, yes. This complex will be part of that.
Yeah, and that's in the, it's in the approval for the UMass.
Yeah, but these guys are coming in brand new, so.
Yeah, this is new, so we can deal with them a little bit differently.
I mean, other than that,
Wouldn't it be the landlord that would be the one who would have to come in? These guys are all tenants.
Yeah, but I mean, there's gonna be a cost for the landlord to do it based on all of Watertown Plaza, not just that front little piece. And that was sectioned off, I know why it ended up out.
Whatever entity owns Water Tower, whatever entity owns these three spots.
Right.
Who owns this?
well, I guess, but doesn't that depend upon what their lease says? I mean, we have,
Right,
we know
right.
who, I think it's,
Right,
I think we contact the business, and then it's their
It's up
owners
to
to
them to
determine who
contact
should.
them.
right.
I mean, maybe their lease says that you're on your own, I don't, you know.
How-
Other than that, I mean, I think
Yeah,
it's
That's fine.
a good project, and it's nice that that building hasn't gone empty for so long either, like a lot of our buildings do before someone else. So, I mean, that's my only comment in terms of the traffic study, because it's been a
Okay,
concern.
well, we can discuss that further.
It's not a great intersection.
Do I have any other questions on this site, the plan of the traffic?
Just-
I'll ask the audience one more time, do I have any more questions? Any questions, anything anybody wishes to add?
Are we gonna do the department head?
Okay,
Just for the record, everyone approves except for the comment from police.
please.
And Kristen's comment on behalf of the planning department on landscape and snow, which has been addressed.
And cells in the top 200 crash.
Yes,
That's,
And Health, who said they're concerned about dust, noise,
Yeah,
exhaust.
yeah. so we'll add those as conditions if you vote on them.
Okay. Well, a motion would be in order to close the hearing now?
John, just one point, I need to repeat myself in this too, because I'm a board member at Health Alliance, and likely this would not get a fair shot with me.
Another
Okay.
genetics.
We'll accept that.
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the hearing. Any discussion? Hear none, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You go to
It's gonna get voted on shortly, so.
Actually,
Yeah, we're gonna- that 5.1.
We already did 1 and 2.
No, we didn't do the,
We didn't do 5.2 yet?
just vote. We don't need it.
We haven't done 5.1.
we haven't done 5.1.
Let's do it.
Good.
We gotta vote on it now, on the site plan approval. We just had the discussion on the site itself. Okay, 5.1, 257 Central Street for site plan approval.
We have to wait for Paul.
Paul just had a
Oh, Okay,
Well, do we have, just to get things going, do we have any,
I'll tell you what, can I make a suggestion, if you want to wait a minute for Paul? We do have one more item under communications.
Yes.
And I believe Mr.
Motion to move to communication 6.3.
okay.
okay.
Patiently waiting.
That's good.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no, motion carries. Plan board recommendation from City Council petition 74-17, David D. Watts request a dead end sign and stop sign on the end of street from Montrose Street connecting to Grant Street.
I know.
It's a horrible, sorry. Just want to give you an idea. I printed
I'm
out.
surprised there's no stop sign there now.
Talking about,
Jesus.
Okay, here's Montrose.
Yeah. Grant Street, it doesn't permit.
a little cloudy, but it might help you explain
It's on the backside.
where you want to put it.
All right, so I'm Dave Watts, 36 Montrose. So from Grant Street down on the left-hand side of Montrose, you can see it's just yard, then my house, then I have a shell across the street, and then it's just corner lots off of Grant Street. When you get down to the end where you see the light lines of the cross, that's actually all like wooded tree area. It's just paper street. So there's actually a break between this side of Montrose Street, tree line,
Right.
Montrose Street on the other side.
Right.
Gotcha.
So we have no stop sign or dead end sign down on the Grant side. So obviously we stop at the end of the street when we go to turn off. But you look at the different technology today, some cell phones give you GPS, some Garmin's, and some tell you it's a throughway, some tell you that it's a dead end. So we have people that are constantly trying to cut through from the Central Street, Grant Street traffic, which if any of you have ever went on Grant Street on Central, it's a nightmare. So they like to cut through on there on the Montrose, and by the time they hit my front door, they can be going anywhere from 40 to 60 miles an hour when they realize, there's a tree line 20 feet in front of me. They jack in their brakes and they slide right down to the ends. So I'm hoping for putting a stop sign and a dead end sign that maybe a few more people who come down the street trying to rip through will see the dead end sign and be like, hey, I can't cut through.
Better be looking at the
You want those
GPS
signs, you
going.
want dead end sign.
You know
Grant
what?
Street, though.
I'm not here to address people's cell phones and being jackasses. I just want a dead end sign.
Although you just did though, didn't you?
Dead end sign on Grant Street side.
Yeah, you just want
Well,
to get,
the stop sign would obviously face into Montrose,
Right.
typical for a stop,
Dead
and
end.
then the dead end sign either under the street sign or
Yep.
even,
On its own pole.
the councilman called me for our board last week and suggested trying to get a dead end on the street sign and on the stop sign. I didn't see the point on that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean,
That's
as long
up to
as there's
DPW.
one there for people to see it, it might reduce some of the people who are trying to cut through from going that way.
I'll make a recommendation to favorably approve to the city council.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have a problem, I can see that problem.
Yeah.
I've been there. Not trying to cut through,
He's
but
one
I
of
was
those guys
that
that
way.
goes through at 60 and he's gonna jam.
So I went right through the
brakes on
woods, you know, with the truck.
And if you notice
When
a
I
few
first
low
bought my
branches
house 4
missing,
years
that was
ago, it
him.
was 2 in the morning. I had someone fly down, and it was the middle of winter. And when they jacked, they literally almost went down the bank. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a steep bank.
Oh, yeah, it is steep.
John, that was
Okay.
him.
Okay.
Not two, I'm sleeping.
Alright.
We have a
I
recommendation.
have a motion on the table
That's fine.
by Sal. Do I have a second on that?
Did.
Motion made and seconded. Any
Yep.
discussion?
None.
We've had the discussion. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
All right.
Hope you get your sign.
Good luck,
Good luck.
David. Thanks
Okay,
for
good
waiting.
luck.
Thank you.
I'm gonna write a recommendation to the city council, so just go back to them, just so you know. But I'll let you know.
5.1, new business.
Okay.
We can go to,
Well, I'll see you.
back to 5.1. 257 Central Street for a site plan approval.
But
I make a motion to approve the site plan with conditions from the department review, including the DPW and the 20-foot
Second.
Yeah, you know what you're saying.
Spacing, I lost my train of thought.
20-foot,
Minimum of 20
minimum
feet.
between,
Yeah, they calls it an aisle.
Aisles.
Tiles.
Yep.
That works.
I have a motion made, and I have a second. Do I have any further discussion? Here none, call for all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. 728 Central Street for site plan, major modification approval.
I move to recommend approval.
Paul makes a recommend approval. I have a second by Fred.
Do you have any conditions?
Any of the
With
conditions.
department head conditions.
Yeah, department head.
There weren't any, but-
They've provided the additional landscaping.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're good here.
Yeah, I think that's good. Any further discussion? Our plans look good. I'd like to see those changes. Okay, all in favor,
Yeah, we're
say
gonna
aye.
have to have the
Aye.
plans with the
Opposed, say
shift.
no.
Yeah, and we'll,
Motion carries.
we'll submit it to
Yeah.
our office and we'll make sure it meets.
Perfect.
Okay.
I did.
60 Hospital Road for site plan, major modification approval.
Okay, so I make the
Carol.
motion to,
Yeah, that's good too. To remove,
to revise our conditions of approval, specifically number 10, to read, traffic study to include the following. A, to provide the Opticon equipment for the relevant traffic signals. And B, for the applicant to pay for a traffic study analysis to be conducted by a traffic engineer selected by the planning board.
Okay, got a question.
Anything?
This would be a minor modification.
Well-
If we had a major modification, we require a public
Yeah,
hearing.
well, it was this
Yeah,
public
it
hearing.
was.
Yep,
Open public
Was
meeting,
it?
yeah.
a public meeting, it'd be a public hearing.
It was a
It
site
was a
plan.
site plan approval.
What was the site plan?
So it's,
It's all good.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure.
Yep, absolutely.
It's gotta
That's
be
why we
between
had
the
it-
public meeting, public
when
hearing.
Yeah.
Kristen, and this is not a problem, we used to call them, Kristen calls
yeah,
a public hearing ones that she has to
Special permit, advertise.
and advertise,
Yeah.
and she calls a public meeting ones that she doesn't. We used to call a public informational
That's
meeting.
correct.
We
It
can
doesn't
change that,
matter.
whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
But
just wanted to make sure.
I get it.
Yes, absolutely. It was originally a site plan approval and they had an open public meeting or a public information meeting. So, you know, in the major or minor, we felt it best to schedule them for the open public meeting informational so that we could have the open discussion
Okay,
and then modify the site plans.
that's fine. I just want to make sure we don't get into any
Absolutely.
legal problems.
Yeah.
I second that motion. Carol made.
Can I
Yeah.
just
Motion,
specify?
second that
Kristen,
motion.
do you have something?
I just want to clarify.
Smoky Mountains.
Condition number 10 is referring to the traffic study that the hospital is already obligated to do.
Right.
I want to make sure we're referring to this study, this analysis thing is sort of a different name again, to not,
Yeah, so-
be confused.
Then why don't we,
That's why I suggested just removing condition 10 entirely and replacing it with
Right.
verbiage that better.
okay, so why
that-
don't we do this? So this is I'll revise my motion. My motion is to eliminate our current condition number 10, our current condition of approval number 10, and replace it with the following, number 10. The applicant is to provide the Opticon equipment for the relevant traffic signals. Then, number 11, if I can do it this way, remains, and then we add an, try not to make this difficult, but then this might be cleaner, and then add a number 12, that the applicant is to pay for and conduct a traffic study analysis to be conducted by a traffic engineer selected by the Leominster Planning Board.
Yeah, but you're getting, what about the 6-month?
That's
I'm
already
reading
in
it as
there.
number
That's
11.
That's
That's
why
already in there.
I want to keep it
That's
separate.
part of the
That's
traffic
already part of
study,
their
so-
original conditions.
So the
Yes.
traffic
that works.
study is to include the Opticon, and then
Yep.
number 11 is the 6-month review of the
Yes.
traffic study, and number 12 is the traffic study analysis
Perfect.
with a traffic engineer that
Yep.
we select and they pay
I'm on
for.
board.
I thought
Okay,
it would just be a little,
just part of Robert's rules. We had a motion and a seconded before. That original motion, the original second has to be withdrawn. I don't remember who did it.
Withdraw, Freddie withdrew.
Fred withdraw and Carol has to withdraw. Okay,
Okay, I
And then-
withdraw, and I make a motion,
then you make the new motion.
motion to eliminate number 10 and replace it with a traffic study is to include, no, I'm gonna take that out. I'm gonna take out traffic study. Number 10 is to read, the applicant is to provide the opticon equipment for the relevant traffic signals. Number 11 remains. Number 12, I move that we include, add number 12 as a condition of approval that the applicant is to pay for a traffic study analysis to be conducted by a traffic engineer selected by the planning board.
That's,
Sounds good.
that's what I was thinking, okay.
Okay, I have a motion made and I have a second over there. So, like- Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
One no vote there. One no vote there.
Yes.
241, North Main Street Site Plan Approval, Walk-in Med Express. I think we wanted to do something here where we make one of the conditions of their approval that they be involved with the traffic study or that final meeting. They're not
The
part of
final
the traffic study itself, but that
The traffic study analysis.
the analysis.
So the language, why don't you
Okay.
just use the language
I think
from
they
the
should,
original one?
I think that they should be,
Part of the joint.
I think that they should
Part of the joint.
contribute in its fee,
So
in the
why-
cost,
Why don't we just use the
To
language
which?
from condition 11
to the,
and just add them to it?
Well, I think that that's gonna come down to the end of the day with all
Well,
parties involved.
yeah.
Somebody makes a determination.
why
of
can't
what
they,
needs to
why
be
can't
done.
they financially contribute to that traffic study?
To the traffic study that the hospital will be
To
conducting,
traffic study analysis?
to the analysis.
Because you're
Well,
asking,
you-
Well, if the
You
hospital's
already-
gonna pay for the study,
Right.
they're just gonna have to contribute in the solution.
Well, they're paying for the
Right,
analysis.
correct.
They,
as well.
we just
Okay.
voted to.
All right, so they'll pay for the, but, so we're gonna
And
include
then-
them as part of the, that condition of approval is that they participate in the,
Condition
in
11,
this-
basically.
Condition 11, just add them. to
yes.
yeah.
Right.
And again, you don't know who's responsible. Is it them or is it the people they're leasing from?
And can we?
So, we don't know that.
Probably have to have.
But I don't think that's our concern. I
Well,
think
it
they're
isn't
the
our concern,
applicant,
but
they're
it
the
isn't our
applicant.
concern,
right.
but they may not be legally
Well,
responsible.
then it's their
But that's-
responsibility to go to their,
Yeah.
That's yours,
Yeah.
so what?
so you make it them or the responsible party.
I mean, we condition the applicants all the time. We've never before been concerned about whether they own the
And
property or
we already
not.
did it in condition 11. We list all these
So
businesses,
just
whether
do
they
it,
own it or not. So
make it
just
part of
make it part of
condition
that.
11, like
Yeah.
you said.
I mean, they're the ones profiting from it, to whether they're paying rent or not.
So just use the applicant will participate in a meeting arranged after the first 6-month traffic study that includes, and just use the same language that's in the.
I'll have to adjust it to reference the traffic study that will be
Yep.
conducted by the hospital.
Yep.
Right.
Within 6 months
Yes.
of them initiating construction.
And then the only condition we're placing is they participate in the meeting, so there's no cost to that.
That's right. Because then that will be determined at that time what the impact is.
Right.
Like they're saying they having a positive impact because they're gonna have a reduction.
Right.
Okay? So in their case, they would have no responsibility because we've already done our fair share, maybe. Who knows?
So is there a value to them conducting a separate traffic study?
We don't know. They came up with their numbers and we have no way to, I don't disbelieve what they're saying, but no, I have got no way to actually agree to them either. So just make them, they're part of the community. That's part of the whole there, so we'll just make a note that they're involved and that way that'll be a later determination with the parties involved.
So I have a question. When it says that they're going to appear before us to discuss the results of the traffic study, you mean the traffic study analysis?
Yes,
They are,
correct.
well, wait a minute, yes, they should be, but they are also obligated to, the traffic study itself, I believe. So in 6 months, forget about the
Right,
analysis,
forget about the
pretend
whole
that never
thing.
happened, because remember, that came
That's
later.
right.
So they
right.
were supposed to, when they do their first
Yeah.
traffic study in 6 months,
Yeah.
they were then supposed to
Report back to us.
report back to the board.
And then they do another 6 months.
Yes.
As long as construction continues, that was part of the,
Okay,
original.
which
That's
has
the
to do with
hospital.
number 9. So, okay,
When's number 9?
is
That's
the
all
traffic study.
The
Okay.
intersection.
Right. Now, obviously, these things are all kind of going together, so it could be at that time, if we could get everything lined up, we're just talking about all of it at the same time. I don't know, that kind of remains to be seen, but they are obligated to do a traffic study within 6 months and discuss it before the board.
Right.
And then also the analysis and that meeting, and then we'll discuss that as well. So
Yep.
we'll have to see how that
So we're
plays
covered.
out.
All right.
I think we're covered by all this.
Plus,
I
you
want to
wanna
go
add
back to Kristen's question. So the police department head comment is that
Right.
they do a traffic study. And Kristen's point's a very fair one. If Health Alliance is doing a traffic study.
They already are.
Does it make sense? to have them
No, they don't
do it?
have to do a separate traffic
So
study.
then we
But
don't.
no,
wanna-
but they should be, they should participate.
In the analysis.
Agree, but then we don't.
But
want
see,
to
your
include
comment was that all the
comment.
department heads' comments be taken into
Correct.
account.
So the police department.
With the
comment
exception
is
of police
not-
department.
Right. That's correct.
Because it is.
Because the police studies, the study's already been done by the hospital.
Separate from that.
And we
versus
haven't
the car.
talked about, right, we haven't made a motion for conditions on this one.
No.
I think
Yeah.
they should be, I think they should participate in the study and in the analysis.
Okay.
So in the 6-month traffic study?
But the
Why, you
hospital
don't have
already
anybody
agreed
else
to do the.
participating in that? That was just.
But we,
compromise.
why can't we take advantage, they're a new
No,
applicant,
I
they're trying to put in the
understand,
building, and let's
but
get
that
them
was
in.
something
Well, I
that was
think it's-
already.
I mean,
I
the
don't know how to
hospitals,
make
the
them do
hospital,
that.
You can't make them do that. That was already a condition that Health Alliance said that they would do.
I'm
and
not
that they-
telling them to pay, I'm not telling them to pay, I'm telling to do, that they should
Be part of the
participate.
study. But when they do that, when Health Alliance does the study, it's gonna take into account everything there. Everything that's going on.
And they're already paying for it.
And they're
Yeah.
paying for it, so it's a moot point, because you're getting all the traffic out of water, you're getting all that corridor that was mentioned.
That's all gonna be studied. But they've gotta be
Definitely
part of,
participate.
We got the one nonprofit paying for everything, while all the other profits are sitting back waiting for their
What's
no,
that?
no, that's,
Well, until the
That's
results
that's
come
not
back and they gotta
for-profit.
reconfigure the
Right.
entire
That's
board.
my hand, I think
Right.
it
They
is.
all
all
got
have
to
to
figure
be
everything.
Are you a nonprofit?
they're
The
for-profit.
hospital is a non-profit.
But as you said, timing is everything.
That's
501c3.
where you're gonna.
If they had come in before the
Well,
hospital,
it's
they'd be
it's
the
a
one.
training
paying.
institute,
Yeah.
but they certainly make money.
But if
They
they
just
have
put
to,
it back in.
but if anything.
I don't know why we
can go over the
can't-
books.
I don't know why, I have to go back,
It's
I
a
don't know why
philosophical
we
argument,
can't,
you know?
why we can't condition approval that they not only participate, but they financially contribute. Just because we told the Health Alliance to financially contribute doesn't now exclude anyone else from financially
So why
contributing.
don't we call Water Tower Plaza and say, hey, you guys gotta contribute?
Because we have no,
They got no leverage.
they have nothing
I
before us.
understand, I don't think it's right.
But why is it right for the hospital?
It was already being done. I mean, this is just an
What if-
expanded
But they're
use.
doing a bigger.
I wanna hear what Gail
They're
has to
doing a
say.
bigger overall.
I wanna hear what Gail has to say.
Well, it sounds like what you're saying is that they should be compelled to participate and perhaps compelled to pay.
That's exactly,
They're-
I think I made that pretty clear.
But as opposed to the other participants like Applebee's, they're gonna be asked, but there's no way to compel them to either participate
So,
or to pay.
That's right.
And so I think if there was that language that
Yeah, that's what we want,
differentiate.
that they compel
That's
to,
my point.
Yes.
in the
That's the
analysis.
language.
And maybe
But you
participate
can't force
in
them to pay for the
any
study.
Solution.
I-
Why
I think
not?
you
solutions
can.
that are
I think you can.
determined.
Well, you
You
can.
know.
I don't know if you
You
should.
can.
I just,
Just because the hospital came to us first, they have to pay for
If the
everything?
hospital wasn't on the
How
agenda.
do I know MedX, whatever they're called, weren't waiting for this?
If the hospital was never on the agenda, we would make them do a traffic study.
That's
So they would
right.
pay. It's just timing. And they had the good fortune, perhaps, of coming in after the hospital, but it's not out of bounds, certainly, to make them pay.
Well, the hospital's contributing to probably 30% of the traffic that goes through there.
Mhm.
I would say.
And they're also asking for a
Water
zoning
tower is a
variance,
lot.
so they're
It
asking
is.
for.
Yeah, they're asking for a special
McDonald's.
permit. Don't forget that, I made a note of that it has to be conditioned upon the approval of that, which goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm making that, I make a motion that that if we have to vote on it, if there's a source of, if we're not gonna all be on the same page, my conditions of approval of this is that they have to obtain an issuance from the ZBA, a special permit,
Which they do.
because it is a non-conform, that's right, it's
It
a
is.
non-conforming
They have to
use.
do that.
Right.
They have
And
to
that
do
they participate financially and actively in the traffic study analysis and the traffic study with
Traffic
Health
study.
Alliance.
How much?
You got,
I mean, it has to be very specific.
50%,
Have to be-
50%.
Oh, no,
50%.
no, come on, Carol.
Why
That's
not?
It's
crazy.
not 50%, they're
You're
one,
talking,
they're
which they're probably gonna
1/10.
come up with a reduction. How about if we have
How
them
much are they,
supply their
what is
traffic
the,
study
what
that
is
they
the,
did?
how much, what is the addition to the emergency room?
Look, I'm not even going there, but it's the trips generated.
30 or 40
It's
million?
trips generated. And when you're looking at something that has the possibility of a reduced impact on trips generated, you don't say you pay for 50% of the study. How about we require them to give us the copy of their traffic study that they've already done to incorporate into the overall plan of the other traffic study?
Who did a traffic study?
They did their own traffic analysis.
But we must have it.
They didn't include that in their package, did they, Kristen?
I believe they,
And that wasn't a study, he was just taking it out of the book, how many average trips for the business.
I don't know.
That
Well,
wasn't a
but let's
study of
get,
the
let's
Well,
get,
he come up with a
provide an
number
actual
that
traffic study.
Yeah.
They
bank
did
could
a
get 450
Did
trips,
a
they're only
bank.
180.
so
Yeah.
let's see where he got the numbers from.
Their analysis, they get it from their other stores.
Yeah.
Because they
No,
said
but no, because
they
he got
do-
the bank in there too.
They
did
do
the
50.
bank.
oh.
So how did they get the bank numbers?
banks are standard numbers. It was in your trip
How they
analysis,
come up with 180 trips when they're only gonna see 30?
50?
well, in and out,
Well, you know.
in and out, 50 becomes 100. And if they get 10 employees,
There's
You
120.
know, that's-
And then
that's
they get
120
some
and-
others, you know, they,
Then round it up to 180?
Well, I think you said that.
no, like you said, is it?
They're hopeful for 80, so there's a 160
Well,
plus
that's what they said is if they go over 80, they have to find.
They look for a new place.
It's not ready.
What?
I'm coming around to your point.
I don't, what difference does it make? What
Listen,
difference
I-
make
I
how
don't-
big
that's-
they are or anything else?
I agree
Why
with
don't
you
they just-
totally in the.
I mean, how much is a traffic study going to cost?
$10,700.
$10,000.
Oh, that's
That's
right.
the analysis.
Remember, that's a different,
That's,
it's a take on, you know, it's not a
That's
traditional
right.
traffic study.
that's
You know,
just on
traffic
the
study, you'd be
Health
doing
Alliance
counts,
piece.
you'd be, you know, you have people out there, you'd set up your
Right.
equipment or whatever. This
Right.
analysis, we're just looking at past documents.
Right.
There's no additional counts or anything, so
Right.
they're a little bit different.
But there'd be no question, if the hospital wasn't on the agenda, and this came as a standalone, we would require a traffic study. And they would pay the full freight.
Yeah, I don't know why they can't pay 50%, just because they have
Yeah,
a
but their
smaller.
traffic study, we would not be
Well,
able
we just
to.
approved the McDonald's redo, why didn't we slap it on them?
Yeah.
Literally.
That's
I
not,
agree.
that wasn't, it's not the
That's one
same.
trip.
Didn't the other one come?
It's
before
not
us
the
the
same
other day?
McDonald's, that's the McDonald's.
But they
on-
are opening up something
There was
that
nothing on the
has
other one?
No.
a third of the trips that the other use had.
I'd just like to see where they
How do
get
we,
their numbers.
why don't
from.
we just say that, my condition is that the condition of approval is that they participate in and financially contribute to the traffic study analysis,
The traffic study analysis.
and that's, and just leave it at that and let them decide.
But do you mean literally
How do you know if we
pay for
complied then?
the consultant to do this
Yes.
analysis?
Well, but how do we know if we complied then, if it's up to them to figure out what contributes?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Make it 10%.
Yeah, $10,000, 10%.
I feel more
I don't think it's enough, but
Yeah, but
what's the square
rationale for
footage?
10%? I don't
What's
understand that either.
what's the square footage of Health Alliance that they're adding on?
A lot more than that. Not that much more than that, to be honest with you.
I mean, how much was it?
It's 2 levels,
Yeah,
but
what do you?
patient
50
surgery,
down.
yeah.
So that's
Patient.
5,000.
Oh, it's like it went from like
13,000.
25 beds to how many beds?
13,700
Went from
square foot.
25 in emergency to like
36.
Was it 36 or
So
was it more than
the
that?
Health Alliance one is
They come out.
13,700 square feet on the ground floor,
So that's
3,500 square foot on the first floor, and 11,000 square foot in exam space.
So this, almost 30,000 square feet compared to 2,000 square feet, and you're gonna charge them?
So
5,000?
13,500 and 13,700, 3,500, 11,000.
All right, you said that too fast.
13,700,
Yeah.
3,500, 11,000. That's the Health Alliance.
26,000 roughly.
And they're 5.
And they're 5.
All right, wait a second. That's 28,200. They have 5, what did they have?
5,000.
Well, I want exact, they have more than 5,000.
No, it's 3 plus 2. It's 5,000.
5,000 square feet.
I know you want.
It's 5,141 square feet.
That's a good way of doing the percentage.
Divided by, what did I say now, 28,700?
Yep.
That's
28,200.
18%.
Then that's a.
10,700, if that's
So
the
it's
number,
about 2 grand.
times
$2,000.
$2,000.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, I'm gonna say 20% of the total cost of this traffic study analysis, because it might be more than 10,700, it might be less.
No, she's
No, I have a proposal.
Exactly
Yeah,
10,700.
You just said before, you said earlier it was.
No, she's got it right
She got the
there.
bid.
Yeah.
She already got the bid.
She's got 2 bids.
All right, well, I'm still gonna say, I'm saying 20% of the full cost of the analysis.
That's fair.
I will second that.
All right. Are there any other conditions? Oh, and the CBA condition, was there any other conditions?
I think we
those
want
is
to
it.
take these separately.
Yeah, wait a minute. Health department, well, that's just old, that's sewer is normal. So, all department head comments except for, well, we're adding the police department comment.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, we're not, except for the police department comment. Include all the others.
And we'll deal with, yeah.
Right. Because we're dealing with that separately.
Okay, I have a motion by Sal.
No, by Carol,
by-
I just amended that
Oh.
one part, the department head.
We have to, I think we have to do my, I think we have to do my condition before we do a motion to approve.
Yes.
No, because it's all part of the same motion. Your condition.
All right,
as well as
is
the
everyone in
department
agreement
head.
with it?
No,
That's
you
what
gotta
I'm
take
You
it
saying.
gotta have to
separately.
take a vote on it, but
All right,
that
so.
comes out at the vote.
But then you-
Carol, make your motion
Well, but
first.
you know what? No, I can't, you know what? That's not the right way to do it. I am making
It's a separate motion.
a motion to approve the site plan upon the condition of,
Participate.
upon the condition that they receive ZBA, the issuance of a special permit from the zoning board of appeals, and that they participate in the traffic study analysis and financially contribute to the traffic study analysis up to 20% of the cost of that analysis.
Up to?
20.
No,
No,
up
don't
to
mean-
20%, that's what I meant. I just said it wrong.
And also, the
And the-
department
and
head
the-
comments.
And all the
except-
department,
Except for the
Except for the
police.
police, which is.
except for the
consumer
police,
charge.
right,
And I second Carol's
With-
motion.
okay.
Thank you.
But now I just have a question before we go to vote.
Mhm.
So if people vote against this, does that mean the whole site plan fails?
No, it's
Or
not.
the-
No, it
special
just
permit,
means
it's
you go
majority
back.
wins.
Come back with
Then
it.
you
Well-
go back with another
Come back.
motion. to-
Come back with another motion.
The mo-
With different conditions.
Right,
That's right.
correct.
Just
So
to
there's
make sure.
anything in that
There's
motion, you don't like, you
no,
vote against it.
No,
It's not-
Okay,
no prejudice. Just come back.
okay,
It's not-
no, that just fails, and then you,
prejudice.
anybody that's on the prevailing side can come back with a new motion,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
So it's somebody that's on, so if you vote against it, and it's voted down, you're on the prevailing side, then you can come back with a new motion. Okay? Well, anybody that's on the prevailing side.
Can I just ask a question? And it has nothing to do with this, but
Okay.
with Applebee's and Longhorn and all the rest, how can we get them to be, not to pay, but be part of this study? Kristen, send them a letter, well,
Yeah.
They probably would want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Because they're,
Well,
maybe, I don't know.
Well,
they're
if,
gonna have
if
to
it's
pay
not hurting their business,
money.
they don't care.
Yeah. I think you can, and I know Carol mentioned earlier about including maybe in the motion, participation in this, meeting. That's condition, that we've talked about already, but I don't know how to
Can't
compel
force
any
it.
of the businesses.
No.
The goal is to,
Yep.
because I know we have water tower that listed, but we didn't list.
Oh, we said, yeah, but it's worded in a way that it means all of them, doesn't it?
yeah.
All right.
It's just they have to be notified whether they show up or not tonight.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
let's
vote
get
on
into the
one.
motion.
Yep,
So I have the first motion is that
it's the same
approval,
motion.
the same motion with the ZPA approval and finance, that they finance up to 20%.
Not up to,
20%.
Yeah,
up to.
Finance, 20%.
Finance up to 20%.
finance 20%. If you say up to, then it could be 8, it
Heading
could
up
be
to 20.
13.
20%.
They're
Oh,
responsible.
you said, okay, you said up to before.
She
No,
did.
you
I know, but I changed my.
They are responsible for 20%.
Finance 20% of traffic study.
Analysis, the traffic study analysis.
Analysis,
Yeah.
analysis. Steps.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't worry about it.
Okay,
It's got it.
that's the motion that's on the floor.
written this so many times.
I'll call for
She's doodling while you're going
a
through.
motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no.
No.
It carries.
I'm a no vote there.
Okay.
You lose a few here and there.
Good job.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
You just make sure when you slice your finger off, you go to the new place, because Health Alliance ain't gonna take it.
Not the Lions,
Okay.
yes. They know me, they know me personally,
All
yeah.
right.
Okay.
I move to go into executive session with the condition, with the comment that we don't return to, the open meeting.
So are we gonna adjourn this meeting in the meantime?
We have something
Go to
else?
Executive
We
session?
don't have a director's
Schedule,
report.
public hearing.
So let me ask.
Did I miss something?
Can I ask a question?
Does it have to do with the executive session?
Yeah.
No.
No, you
No,
can't.
no.
Oh, you wanna make your motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Because we're not coming out of executive
No,
session.
you
So we're
can't.
adjourning the meeting, right?
Yes.
That is
go
correct.
ahead.
Adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.